Imagine, if you will, a vibrant Roman city, nestled on the sun-drenched Bay of Naples. Its streets teemed with life, its markets buzzed with commerce, and its citizens enjoyed the fruits of a prosperous empire. This was Pompeii, a jewel of Roman Campania, living under the shadow of a mountain they believed to be dormant. For centuries, Mount Vesuvius had stood silent, an imposing backdrop, a source of fertile soil, but never a threat, until one fateful day, a day that would erase a city from the map, yet preserve it for eternity. This is the story of Pompeii's last day, a tale of ordinary lives caught in an extraordinary catastrophe, frozen in time by the fury of nature. We're talking about the 24th of October, 79 AD, not the traditional August date, which was long accepted, but a more recent, archaeologically supported understanding of when this cataclysm truly struck. This shift in dating, a fascinating piece of historical detective work, is just one of the compelling facts we'll uncover today. The morning of October 24th, 79 AD, would have dawned like any other. The air, crisp and clear, perhaps hinting at the approaching autumn. Citizens would rise early, as was the Roman custom. Bakers, like those at the famous oven of Modestus, would be firing their ovens, the scent of fresh bread wafting through the narrow streets. Merchants would be setting up their stalls in the bustling forum, preparing for a day of trade. Women would be drawing water from public fountains, gossiping with neighbors, their chatter echoing off the stone buildings. Children, no doubt, would be playing games in the courtyards and alleyways, oblivious to the geological time bomb ticking beneath their feet. In the grand villas, such as the House of the Vetii, slaves would be attending to their masters, preparing breakfast, polishing bronze, tending to elaborate gardens. Life in Pompeii was rich, complex, and utterly mundane. The city had experienced tremors before. A significant earthquake in 62 AD had caused widespread damage, much of which was still being repaired. But these were seen as mere inconveniences, a quirk of living in this fertile, volcanic region. No one truly understood the true nature of Vesuvius. They saw it as a mountain, not a volcano. Its slopes were covered in vineyards, its summit a benign peak. The illusion of safety was absolute. Then, around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the world changed. Without warning, a colossal explosion ripped through the air, shaking the very foundations of the city. From the summit of Vesuvius, a monstrous column of smoke, ash, and rock erupted upwards, reaching stratospheric heights. Pliny the Younger, an eyewitness across the bay in Misnum, famously described it in his letters to the historian Tacitus as resembling a pine tree, a long trunk rising high into the sky, then spreading out into branches, some dark and full of cinders, others spotted and of various colors. This was the Plinian phase of the eruption. Initially, confusion reigned. Was it a storm? A strange cloud? Many would have gathered on rooftops, curious, perhaps even awestruck by the spectacle. But as the column grew, its base thickening, a terrifying truth began to emerge. The mountain was awake. The sheer scale of the eruption dwarfed anything witnessed in living memory. Soon, the first debris began to fall. Not molten lava, as many might imagine, but lightweight fragments of pumice, small and white, like snow. Initially, it was more of a nuisance than a threat. People might have tried to sweep it away from their doorways, or simply watched it accumulate. But the fall was relentless. Within hours, the pumice began to pile up, obscuring the sun, turning day into a premature, terrifying twilight. The air grew thick with ash, making breathing difficult. A gritty taste coating the tongue. The weight of the accumulating pumice became a grave danger. Roofs, not designed to bear such a load, began to groan, then crack, then catastrophically collapse. Those who had sought shelter indoors now found themselves trapped or crushed by falling masonry. The once bustling streets became a treacherous obstacle course, covered in meters of abrasive rock. Escape became a desperate struggle. Many attempted to flee, carrying what few possessions they could. But the roads were choked with debris, and panic began to grip the city. It's here we must pause to consider the invaluable account of Pliny the Younger. His letters to the historian Tacitus provide our most detailed and harrowing eyewitness testimony. He describes his uncle, Pliny the Elder, a renowned scholar, admiral of the Roman fleet, and a man of immense scientific curiosity, attempting a heroic rescue mission. Pliny the Elder, stationed in Misenum, sailed towards the eruption, seeking to evacuate friends and study the phenomenon up close. He never returned, succumbing to the toxic fumes on the shores near Stabiae. This highlights a crucial point, and our first compelling historical fact. The eruption wasn't an instant killer for everyone. The initial pumice fall provided a window, albeit a rapidly closing one, for escape. Pliny the Elder's brave, yet ultimately fatal, journey underscores the initial hours of chaos and the desperate attempts to survive. However, the sheer scale of the event, the blinding ash, and the collapsing structures made organized flight incredibly difficult. As night fell, the situation became apocalyptic. The darkness was absolute, broken only by flashes of lightning within the volcanic cloud, illuminating the horrifying spectacle of a city being devoured. The air was thick with sulfur and ash, making every breath a struggle, burning the throat and lungs. The ground trembled incessantly, a continuous, terrifying rumble. Then came the true horror. Around midnight, the eruption column, unable to sustain itself, began to collapse. This triggered a series of devastating pyroclastic surges, superheated avalanches of gas, ash, and volcanic rock, traveling at hundreds of kilometers per hour down the slopes of Vesuvius. Our second compelling historical fact is the multi-phase nature of the eruption and its varied impact on the surrounding towns. The first of these surges struck Herculaneum, a town closer to the volcano, around 1 a.m. on October 25. The heat was so intense, estimated at over 500 degrees Celsius, that it instantly carbonized organic matter, including human flesh and bone. Those in Herculaneum died instantaneously. Their bodies vaporized in a flash, leaving behind only their skeletons and, in some cases, perfectly preserved brain matter turned to glass. This brutal, instantaneous death due to extreme heat is a stark contrast to the slower suffocation experienced by many in Pompeii initially, highlighting the different destructive forces at play. Pompeii, slightly further away, was hit by subsequent, but no less lethal, surges. These surges, though perhaps slightly cooler than those that devastated Herculaneum, were still utterly destructive. They swept through the city, burying everything and everyone in a suffocating, searing blanket of ash. People caught in these surges would have died almost instantly, their lungs filling with hot ash, their bodies contorting in their final moments of agony. It was a rapid, inescapable end. This rapid burial in fine ash is the extraordinary reason why we have our third compelling historical fact. the famous casts of Pompeii's victims as their bodies decomposed over centuries. They left voids in the hardened ash. Archaeologists, most notably Giuseppe Fiorelli in the 19th century, developed the technique of pouring plaster into these voids, revealing the exact postures of the victims: a mother shielding her child, a dog struggling on its back, a family huddled together. These casts are not fossilized bodies, but rather hollow impressions, poignant testament to the human tragedy, offering a chillingly intimate glimpse into their final moments. Our fourth compelling historical fact addresses the persistent myth surrounding the eruption. Date. For centuries, the date of August 24, 79 AD, was accepted, primarily based on Pliny the Younger's letters. However, meticulous archaeological findings challenged this. Excavations have uncovered abundant evidence of autumnal fruits like pomegranates and figs, wine fermenting in sealed jars, a process that occurs in autumn, and even citizens wearing warmer clothing, inconsistent with a summer event. A particularly compelling piece of evidence was an inscription found in 2018 in the House of the Garden, dated to the 17th day before the calends of November to October 17th, while the eruption occurred a few days later. This definitively places the event in late autumn, not summer. This shift from August to October 24th, based on tangible archaeological evidence, is a testament to ongoing historical discovery and the meticulous work of archaeologists. It offers a more complete picture of Roman life, not just its dramatic end. When the sun finally broke through the volcanic haze, a new world had emerged. Vesuvius stood shorter. Its peak collapsed. Where Pompeii and Herculaneum once thrived, there was now a desolate, ash-covered plain. The cities were buried, lost to memory for nearly 1,700 years. Farmers would eventually cultivate the land above, unaware of the treasures and tragedies beneath their feet. It wasn't until the 18th century, during the construction of a royal palace near Pompeii, that the buried cities were accidentally rediscovered. Systematic excavations began, slowly peeling back the layers of ash and pumice, revealing an astonishingly preserved snapshot of Roman life. Pompeii's last day was a monumental tragedy, a devastating reminder of nature's raw power. But in its destruction, it also gifted us an unparalleled window into the past. We see not just grand temples and public baths, but the intimate details of everyday life. Graffiti on walls, loaves of bread in ovens, tools left mid-task. The expressions of terror and resignation on the faces of those who perished. It's a city frozen in time, its final moments preserved with chilling clarity. Vesuvius remains an active volcano, a constant, silent threat to the millions who now live in its shadow in the modern cities of Naples and its surrounds. But Pompeii stands as an eternal monument, not just to the fragility of life, but to the enduring human spirit, and the power of history to speak across millennia. Its last day became its most enduring legacy, a story that continues to captivate, educate, and warn us, even today.